So I have known Chip for 20 years. We're live probably 3 blocks away from each other. Our kids are the same age. That's not really true. I've known of Chip Baker for 20 years. I couldn't. He brought us here to a bend. He brought me county commissioner. He ran children's hospital. I mean, who couldn't? So 5 years ago, that changed, and I got to go into business with Chip. And I really got to know Chip. If there's one word that distinguishes him pretty much from all others, it serves. Just that full servant mentality. From the time he ran Children's Hospital, imagine being able to affect the lives of sick children, to the time that he created Riverbend. And, well, Riverbend, yes, I know it's a great festival and we all go and have a good time. But if you think about it, a community isn't a community until they get together. And that's what he brought. At that point, he has served on Airport Authority, he has served on the Hamilton County Education Commission.
Or
Yeah. And when we left Riverbend, friends with us, and started a business, I was not surprised what kind of business he wanted. He wanted the service business. So now he owns Baker Associates, in addition to all the other things he does, where he serves young, upcoming managers and teaches them how to lead their businesses. He serves the businesses they work for by creating better setup managers. So, further ado,
all right, so I've got a question. So hit it. So you're doing electrical. What your faculty?
Yes, okay, the fact.
What do you sides?
Cover this up.
Which side? Business management.
On staff that they get a bond
Chemical engineers. Your staff hot?
to mark.
Okay. Are you part of our group?
Yeah.
Go on over here. In the front row. This is a small group. How about yourself?
You grab this here. Challenge.
Right?
Grab to the side.
Oh, I've never had that skill. That's what I mean. I'm, he's living there in there. Sure, turn back to faculty.
And there's management.
Okay. I know what you do.
You're over.
And I know right there where you can put that camera. Okay. So Jennifer kind of explained what I've had a career transition, not evolution. And one of the things I guess I want to leave you with is based on what I've been through in my life, could happen to you. You may go, right down the path. You might be an electrical engineer or life. You won't be a pilot, right? But you got to have the basis. You might be a professor, your career, or you might change, or you might have changed, right? But you guys are as young as these younger people here. But, I'd be interested in, because this, I'm going to tell you a little about myself, and I want to hear more about you, how you look at things. Okay? So, what Jennifer said was, I was also administrator. I was an event manager, and I did music festivals, PGA Tour events, air shows with Full Angels and Thuddy Birds. Been in politics for 18 years. And now I'm in Maine. Like teaching him. It's better than me. Oh, okay. Let's see if I got one yet. I'm going to ask you, and you can blurt it out. To hold your hand up. You can blurt it out. What was my undergrad degree? No. Also administrator, event management, political. Teach medicine classes. What was my undergrad? Engineering. Okay. No. Fire happy?
Just busy.
Yeah. No.
Communications.
Yeah. No. English. English. Okay. Close. Yes. No. I think it's history. No. Psychology. Communication. No. 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 I haven't heard of you.
Computer science.
Who would do computer science? What did you do?
How much? I was speaking. Biology.
What? What? Biology? No.
Political
Whoa. Where'd you get that? You're sitting next to the wrong person. Really, biology? Yeah. You got the 20 what? And there you go. You can buy like 3 gallons of gas anymore. All right, I always say. But anyways, okay, so biology. Why was I in biology? Well, I grew up where my dad was a farmer in Ohio, right? He was the only child. Weird fact that you have many children, there's many hands like a lake, right? It makes it easier to run a farm. And he told his parents, he said, I want to become a doctor. And they said, hey, we only have one. We need you to run the farm. But his credit, to their credit, he became a doctor. Guess where he met my mom? Hospital, yeah. So she's a nurse. So I grew up in a medical family, and I'm number 5 out of 6. So I'm down here. I got all kinds of handicap. This is probably his code. Who knows? But the point was, I wanted to be like my dad. A lot of you have role models that you grew up with. Might be a parent, might be a friend, might be something. Mine was my dad, and so I went to the College of Worcester in Ohio, which is about 2,200 students, liberal arts college, and I got my biology degree. And so, also, my other passion, even greater passion, was aviation. This Colin and I were talking about that. He's going to be a pilot one day. He's pretty tall, but he can be. And so I was going to go to the Air Force Academy. But because almost every pilot I ever talked to had to train, they say the same. They went through the military. So when I was at Boise State in Ohio, all the academies were there, and this is it's 70s. It's a lot of guys, and then you were bored, including you, probably. But anyway, it was the end of the Vietnam era. They had a surplus of pilots. They didn't have practice surgery. And these were there. Our prescription sunglasses. Okay, so Uncle Sam, right? Best way to learn. And so I was like, I can't go to figure. I mean, I could have gone, but I wanted to go and fly. And when you go to the academy, you have to do 4 years plus 6 years after that. So that's 10 years of my life. So I shipped back into healthcare, and I did a year of research. At Worcester, we had to do a thesis. My thesis was the quantitative recovery of IgG from bovine colostrum and oral milk secretion. Did a year of research. Guess what I did during that year of research? I sat in the back of the lab, right? Just go to sleep. And all that, it was bovine colostrum, cow's milk. And so the point was, I realized then, I don't think I want to do research. Is that okay?
No, you're good.
I didn't want to do research. So then I go to the smart person in my family, my mom, and she says, Chip, you love aviation. Why don't you go into airport management? Somebody else says, why don't you go into hospital management? I was like, oh, well, I worked in a hospital when I learned to fly planes in high school. My dad said, hey, I said, Dad, I want to learn to fly. And he goes, great, get a job. So I washed pots and pans in the hospital, and I delivered trays on the floors and things like that. And I, used that money to become a pilot, which was my passion, right? So anyway, so I think, let's see. I've worked in hospitals. Mom's a nurse, Dad's a doctor. I'll get my master's in hospital administration. So I did. And I got into the business and went to grad school at George Washington University in D.C. And then after 2 years of academics, you do a year of experience. And I think all of you do internships of some sort, right? That's newer. Like all 4 of our kids have done that. And as a result, have got jobs through that experience. So I did a year of what we call administrative residency, and I was supposed to go to Knoxville, and my advisor screwed up. You might, his name was Dr. Hatcher. I was like, Dr. Hatcher, what's going on? Everybody's getting their internships. He goes, hey, everything's cool. I'm like, I'm really looking forward to going to Knoxville. And he goes, it's all good. I'm in talking to him. And then I called Knoxville, this Baptist hospital. Have you ever been to Neyland Stadium where the Vols play? You remember the hospital across the river? And it's now like apartments and buildings and stuff. It used to be a hospital. That's where I was supposed to go. That position wasn't open for another year. So I was losing a good residency. So I ended up in Syracuse, New York. Anybody been to Syracuse? You remember the snow we had for second week of January? Take that and multiply it by 1,000. And that's how much snow they had. You know, all this stuff out in California right now, it's nothing compared to Syracuse. So anyway, I was Syracuse for a year. That I ended up, if they like you, you know, like and you know, when you're starting your career out, you need to get experience. You need to get experience. So if they like you, they offer you a job. And I was like, and they did, and they offered me a job. I go, I'm out of here. You know, I was like, I'm going south. My brother is in Fort Worth. I go into the Dallas-Fort Worth market, start knocking on doors. Here's this 25-year-old kid with a master's degree, very little experience, and then just started building a career. And so I guess one of the points I want to leave you with is life is about relationships. It's you know, the old saying, it's not what you know to you know. Well, it's both. It's both. You gotta have a base level. So what you're learning here, at care of it in management or, you know, engineering or whatever it is, graphics, you know, you got to start from somewhere. And then you use that to build your career, whatever your career may be. So I started knocking on doors, and I, you know, meet these different people, and nothing available. Ended up with kind of a not so good job, my first job, a crappy hospital. I was happy, you know, they paid me, I think, back then, like $15,000, and I went, college, grad student, okay, I'll take it. And then I get a call 6 months later from one of the people I knocked on the door with, and they said, hey, would you come work for us? And it was a chain. Anybody heard of HCA, Hospital Corporation of America? It was like that. It wasn't HCA, it was Universal Health Services. So I'm in Dallas, but the company's based in Philadelphia. So I'm 26 now, 25, 26. And I guess I'm still 25. And so I go there, and I worked there for like 14 months. And one of the doctors said, hey, I want you to run a group of clinics. And what we call doc in the box. It's like, you know, you don't have a family doctor, but you're sick. So you go to one of this, what we call doc in the box, and you get treated, and then you go home, and you never see that doctor again unless you get sick. You might go to another, you know, versus going to your own doctor. So I did that for like 8 months, and then I get a call from the same company that I just left, go to the doctor boxes. Hey, you're 27 now. We'd like you to run a hospital about the size of Memorial North Park. So now I'm 27 and I'm running a hospital. I'm not paying a lot. I get a car, I get a membership. You know, the point is opportunities, right? All these people you network with, all these people you meet, they have value. Not only that you learn from them, but you never know what's going to happen. So I ended up doing that, got recruited to a really big children's hospital there. We did Siamese twin separations, heart transplants, liver transplants. You know, the hospital was right next to Parkland Hospital in Dallas, where they took one of our presidents, Robert F. Kennedy, when he got shot. He was in the hospital next door, and then there was medical school and all this. Then I got recruited here to run children's right over there. Right over there. And we didn't know a soul here, so we ended up, my wife's from Texas. I'd met her on blind date there. So we got married, and what the heck, let's go to Chattanooga, you know? And so that opportunity came up, head on her, right? I'm still in the hospital business. We moved here, run children's hospital. They said, hey, we're doing air shows with the Blue Angels, raising money for children. What's my passion? Aviation, right? That's my passion. So now I'm hanging out with F-16s and F-18s, and we're doing these shows, and they raise money for children's hospital, and I just love it. So while I was at Erlanger and running children's, most hospital administrators, what I found out after the fact, is 5 and out. It's a pyramid scheme. Down here, there's lots of jobs, but as you move up, you've got to move. So I was getting recruited to Houston, and then I got a call from the mayor. He said, I want you to run the airport. I'm like, I'm really followed by there. And another guy says, I want you to run Finley Stadium where the Mocs play. I go, no, I don't want to do that. And the third guy says, hey, I want you to run Riverdale, the music festival. I'm not a music guy. I'm a business guy. So I said, yeah, why not? So I called up my dad and I go, hey, Dad, thanks for college, thanks for grad school. I'm going to the music business. You know what his answer was? What do you think his answer was?
So,
Yeah, I was, he's like, I was waiting to hear no, and the answer was, okay.
how's that stop?
And so so I made a total career the transformation from being a biologist, a hospital administrator. Now I'm in the music business. And then I get a knock on the door. This lady shows up, and it turns out her husband, she lives on Sickle Mountain, her husband was the chairman of the National Transportation Safety Board, which is, over all transportation in the United States. He served in the Clinton cabinet, and he did things like when John F. Kennedy's Jr.'s plane went down, when the Pan Am plane got blown up over Lockerbie. I mean, he was right in the middle of all that stuff. But his wife comes to me and says, hey, I'm on the school board, and you've got 4 kids, and they've talked about a high school on Signal Mountain for 15 years. You'd be perfect. And I'm like, what do you do? How do you do it? How do you campaign? How do you raise money? I'm a hospital administrator. Now the music business, somebody wants me to go into politics. I know nothing about it. So like anything, you keep your eyes totally wide open and you say, okay, tell me how you do it. And that, at this point now, I'm married. I got kids. So my wife is my partner. So we sit down with her and say, do we want to do this or not? And we talk about a high school in Sigma Mountain, 50 years. We've got 4 kids. When I left healthcare, go in the nonprofit world, your income opportunity becomes less. It's a conscious decision. You all your life you'll decide on what profession you want to do, where you want to do it, how much money do you want to make, and how back you are. And that's always in the mix. All of that stuff is always in the mix. And we fell in love with Chattanooga. We just did. So we decided we're going to go ahead and try the school board thing. Well, they've been talking about high school for 50 years. In 6 years, we got the project approved. In 2008, we got the project built, and all 4 of our kids went there. So I got into politics, and I realized, back to relationships. You get to know people. You're a manager. You deal with people's problems. You don't have the number one issue on the school board. What? All right, I got $20 more. What was the number one issue? We're doing.
Right.
I do. Number one, I gave everybody one shot, and then I put the money back. The what we base? That's a great answer. It's not true. I mean, it's not what it was, but that's a great answer. That's the number one issue in any company is how well you communicate. All right, you get one shot. Number one issue on the school board.
Number what?
Number one issue. I go.
Lock.
Huh?
Communication. Anything. Education? No.
It's well, it would be a smart one, but that's what gets?
Raping my
Raising money. Good. No.
PSA parents.
Thanks. Close. No.
It's not said they didn't have kids like you did, the school age, but nothing to do.
Yeah. That's kind of similar, but no.
On the birds.
The what?
A lot of term.
You can't. You're not part of this. You got to sit there. She always knows the answer. That's a great answer. That's I got a whole story on that one for you. What do you think?
I was thinking it's money issues.
Money. Yeah. It's good. What about you? Welcome. Number one issue I dealt with on the school board.
We're talking how to relate with people, right? Satisfying everybody.
Yeah. It's again a great answer, but that wasn't it. Oh, watch this guy. He's money.
Maybe drug.
What?
Drug.
Drugs.
Oh, drugs. Oh, I thought you said truck. No, drugs was, unfortunately, that's a part of what we deal with in But now,
Populating the school, cutting kids, having enough people be.
but good one. No, last but not least.
Listen,
Oh, you're so close. You're so close. The number one issue, you would think it'd be money. You would think it would be education. You would think it would be, safety, right? Bus stops. Bus stops. My child, I live here. My child gets picked up here. Why can't you have to stop over here? And I'm like, real? All the things you got to worry about? It's your own personal convenience. What about their education? What about? So I'll put this money back. But, it might come out again. We'll see. You missed that one, huh? So anyway, so I did that. But what I loved about it was, not only get a high school, and it wasn't me. It was me working with all these people. My job was to bring them together. It was to have the high school. So we did. We opened it. All 4 of our kids went there. But I enjoyed the business a lot. So we took off a break. I was there from 2012 on the school board. And then I took a break because my son got in trouble, criminal court judge's son. Anyway, so my son was a freshman at Tennessee, and he got into a little scuffle with the criminal court judge's son, who was a senior in high school. And his picture was put in the paper, and my wife said, "You're done with politics until all the kids are out." Because his picture was in the paper because I was political, right? So I was like, okay, that's one of the things that happens when you go in the political world is everybody thinks they can do whatever they want to you all the time, and that's okay. Except in your mind, you got to understand that, and you got to be not so much thick-skinned. There's a fair amount of that. Is that you just have to understand that. You represent that. They have the right to say whatever they want to say to you. So I finished in 2012, and I'm in the event business. We're doing PGA Tour events. We're doing Riverbend. We're opening City Hall. We're doing stuff at the Ecoe. I'm loving it because, I'm learning about music, and I'm hanging out with, Keith Urban and Merle Haggard and Samuel Jackson, and, it's people that I wouldn't have met in my other life. It's just, it was fun. It was fun. It was hard. And when you get in the event world, it's the business of planning, because you got an event and you got to make sure that event comes off, which takes a ton of planning. And then again, we did other stuff like Riverfront Nights, kind of like all the stuff we did. But it was, to me, very interesting. I remember, I'm a biologist running a music event. You're an electrical engineer who you will be a pilot. If you want to be a pilot, you will be a pilot. You can do whatever you want to do. It starts with your base. Which is when you're either teaching here or what you're learning here. Okay? And so, but I missed the political world, and so I decided in 2018, I said I wanted if people wanted me to run for county commission, I was like, hey. Now the difference between school board, and this is the difference between Tennessee and almost every other state. In Tennessee, you're on the school board, you're on the commission. You come up with a budget, it is about $650 million. Now you turn to Colin and say, you fund it. Now how fair is that to Colin? You come up with a budget, he's got to go to the people and say, I'm going to raise your taxes because that's what you want him to do. It works against each other, right? Whereas in most communities across the country, if you come up with a budget, you have to come up with a fund. Very often. Suddenly you're like, well, maybe pull that budget back a little bit because guess what people don't like? An increase in taxes. Yeah. So that's the way it's set up in Tennessee. And there's a few what they call special districts around, but where's Germantown and some others in the Nashville area. Germantown's in Memphis, that they have what they call special districts. They do that, and you find it, you create a budget, fund it. So the county commission, when I went on in 2018, we are the funding body for the county. Now, way it's set up in the city of Chattanooga and Hamilton County, city has a city council and a mayor. City council and the mayor, the city of Chattanooga is Tim Keller. Then the county has a county commission and a county mayor. There's 11 of us, and there's a mayor named Weston Watt. So, interesting. But I'll get into that later. So I did that in 2018, and we control the funds. So if you're on school board and you come to me with the budget, that's the dialogue we have to have is how do we fund that? And we're about to do about $200 million in new facility construction. We're only $1 billion behind, right? And we're going to do that without raising tax. But, we want to get that billion, guess what we'd be doing? Raising tax. This is what people don't like, raising your taxes. So anyway, so I did that 2018, and then in 2019, I said, okay, I want to do one more thing with my career. One more thing. Now remember, I'm a biology major, right? Because, gone into hospital management, gone into festival business, gone into politics. What's the common thing with all that? Who's my man for? You're a man, right? What's the common thing? It doesn't matter what your product is, be it a hospital or a music event or running accounting. It's management. And I love it. So I said, I have one more thing I want to do. So I came across this program that Jennifer and I are like Chevy dealers. She's got a Chevy dealership. I've got a Chevy dealership. Same product. Chevys, right? Well, in this case, she's a Crestcom owner. I'm a Crestcom owner. And same product, but different ownership. And so, what Crestcom does is, and my best analogy is, if you're working in a hospital and you work in the lab and you're the first level, you're a lab tech and you process samples and stuff, some take blood out, you put it in the machines and stuff like that. You're like, you're so good at that. We're going to make you a lab manager. There you go. I'm excited. Show me that you're excited. Are you excited to be a lab manager? Yes, you are. So then you start thinking to yourself, oh my God, how do I become a manager? What's a manager do? That's what we teach. We teach, basic skill sets like, how do you deal with conflict? How do you negotiate? How do you go through change? How do you delegate? How do you make decisions? Stuff that you, over your career, you kind of learn because you're so good at that. That's going to be part of me. You're good at this. I'm going to be, each one of you has, well, guess what? If you're not so good at that, but that becomes part of me, it becomes part of me. So we teach you our skill sets that could be, that are university applied. It doesn't matter what your product is. Mine was science, healthcare, politics, music. If you're in the management world, which doesn't matter what your product is, you use the same skill sets. Different product. So anyway, at this point in my career, I'm get a chance to work with younger folks, and I get because our kind of range of people that we work with are 25 to 45. Yeah, there might be some younger, some older, but that's kind of the range. And so I get a chance to hear what I'll teach them a skill set, and then I get to hear back, or we get to hear back from them about how they would process, how they would use what they've just learned. And it might be different from this old dog who's that's a neat trick, right? Like, never thought of it that way. So I guess what I want to do is I want to leave you with the thought that you've got your base. Your base is whatever it is you're learning, be it computer science or engineering, and it doesn't matter. You've got a skill set. You've got a foundation. You're building a house. And then the question is, what do you do with it? What kind of experiences do you seek after that? What kind of relationships do you make? And what happens is you keep, it's this big thing, you keep throwing all these things that when you eat stir it up, you're like, that smells pretty good. Whatever it is you want your life to be. But you start with your base. And you may go into politics. You may become, you'll be fine. But, you may, what do you want to do?
I'm not.
Yeah, it's perfect. Don't worry about it. Get your base, right? How about you? What do you want to do?
Better.
That's,
What they?
you're talking to a guy who's trying to figure it out all the way through it. How about yourself?
I actually in the ship that I want to some faculty here.
So you're faculty? Yeah. I think you're a stink. You look like a stink. Hey, that's a compliment. Okay, you're doing, but you do what you want to do. Yeah. Do you do any business on the side?
Not, future that, but maybe future.
Yeah, maybe in the future. So again, you use your job as your base, and then keep some other thing. But you start with the base, and you start with the relationships. You keep your eyes wide open, and and there are some people that get into a career and they stay in that career. That's okay. That's okay. But there's a buddy of mine. He used to run Channel 9, the ABC station, and he didn't like the company that ran it. After 8-10 years he was there, I'm out. So he went and he started running TV stations in Montgomery, Alabama. And he was commute, not every day, but he would go down and then come back and go down. And he's like, I really want to come back here. So he came back and he's built a media business. You might cost it on. Okay. So anyway, he's got a really cool podcast. Write it down. I mean, because it talks about kind of older folks in their career, what they went through. And what it shows you is there's no straight line, right? Whatever you do, there are some straight. Like there's a guy running the First Tennessee Bank, been bankroll his life. That's cool. There's a guy, what was the other one I heard? Anyway, but it's got people that are, if you live or from here, or if you live here and you want to stay here, it's worth your time to listen to it, because it's called My Morning Cup. And it takes people from Senator Corker, who used to be a Chattanooga mayor. You're really bored listening, third edition, that's me. But, it just talks about their career. And the point of it is, especially when you're younger in your career, is kind of tips on how people changed over time. If they wanted, and most people do. Most people do. They don't just get in one career path, but they go different routes. Again, it starts with your base. It starts with, having an education. You're not excited. Oh, okay. Sorry. Oh, it's good. Hey, you take that to the bank all day long. So, but the point is I didn't see you calling this. You write down my morning cup. I took a minute. Oh, you can take a mental note. Oh, yeah, I used to have somebody do that all the time. There you go. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, listen to it. I mean, it's kind of like if you're driving, stick it on. It's got some that aren't so good, but most are good. Most are really good. And it kind of, especially when you're young in your career, just know that you don't have to worry about what you're going to do next. You don't. But you got to start with your base, and then you got to keep your eyes wide open, and then you got to establish relationships. That's right. You're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine. Yeah. So that's all relationships are. Some are better friends than others. Some are better relationships than others. But it's just getting to know people and getting what I call finger on the pulse. What makes somebody tick? Why do they do what they do? Remember when I was studying biology and, I'd look at a cell and I'd see a nucleus, mitochondria, whatever it is I saw, I'd see that consistently in every cell. When you're dealing with people, you might react a certain way to use the something. And that you consistently count until, for some reason, same situation you react different. That's human nature. Versus that cell that I can see the nucleus, nucleolus, mitochondria, that was always the same. People are different. People, you don't know. Maybe he's got, bad relationship with somebody, or maybe he stubbed his toe, or, pulled a muscle, and he's just not happy today. He might react different. It just might. But, it's about trying to understand people and getting, management getting things done through people. So, again, I'm you're an electrical engineer, I'm talking management, but that base. And think if you're in a pilot and you got a co-pilot, you're in a plane, you got your pilot, you got a co-pilot, you got to be talking. You got to be managing the process.
A single job, you're out working with people.
Amen. That's exactly right. It doesn't matter what your profession, Do you have people you work with in reference?
Oh, about a year.
Yeah. Just a couple. So, anyway, so enough. I took way longer than I wanted to kind of give you my background. But if there's one thing I want you to, remember, it's that you start with your base and you work your way up, and there's all kinds of opportunities once you have that base. And that's what you're getting right here. Who has any questions for me? Yeah. Maybe I got $20 here. Oh.
Have you ever been fired from a job? And if so, if you want to share why, and how did you bounce back?
Yeah. So when I was at Erlanger, I moved here in 1992, and my wife was in the hospital marketing, pregnant with her first child. I was here for 4 months by myself, which is great. And she moves. No, it was before she got here. Erlanger was going through a layoff, and I'm going, "What's that about?" I just moved here. I bought a house in Signal Mountain. I had a house in Dallas. My wife had a job. She's given up. She's pregnant. What's going on? And turned out, I made it through. And there were 5 more after that in the 7 years I was there. And guess which one got me?
Last.
But none of them. But I always thought it would. I remember one time, just kind of go, okay, lose my job. I got a house payment. I'm still making Dallas 1 year. Kids now, and started ironing my own shirts. So I got to save every nickel I got, because my number could be next. And that's the difference, really, when you work for somebody, is sometimes it's out of your control. Now, the reality is that's probably not going to happen, but sometimes it does. So to answer your question, I've never been fired. Got close. And I never knew, and I'm, now the only one that's going to fire me is me, because I work for myself. Or if I run for re-election and I don't get elected again, I just got fired by, my constituents. Yeah, they get fired. And guess what? If you're a volunteer, you think it's possible to get fired? If you volunteer for somebody or something?
Oh, yes.
You're either doing the job or you're not. But, so thankfully, no, it never happened to me, but it got close on a couple occasions. Even when we lay off 600 people at Erlanger, and you didn't know if your number was that close, just because you happened to be in the wrong spot at the wrong time. It's a reality. I'm just glad I never had to go through it. But that's a good question. I thought about it. I mean, I've had that knot in my stomach, multiple times. What do you got?
Well, in these career paths are this when I self handles to music or different purpose. One of the hardest things in that first was 3 months and how did you deep?
Well, yeah, it's a great question, because it's a different product, right? Management's, it doesn't matter if you're doing computer science or you're electrical or graphics or whatever, it's different products, same process. So, probably was learning the product, learning how do you book talent, how do you go through agencies like William Morris Agency. Now, the advantage I have is this. So I left Erlanger in 1999, June 8th. I started with Friends of the Festival, which is the nonprofit that run wherever we're at. So left June 8th, started there June 9th, had our 4th child, Sophie, on June 10th. The festival started June 11th of 1999. But I wasn't in charge. I've been named the director, but it was not until after the festival. So I could walk around the whole time, watching, listening, looking, trying to understand. But it's a very different product line. And I was just talking to a friend of mine this morning. Well, one yesterday, he runs the Alaska State Fair. He used to run the Portland Rose Festival. And he just got fed up with the business, but he went to Alaska at State Fair, and it's the event for Alaska. And then this other buddy of mine ran in Memphis in May, which is the big event in Memphis. He just retired in January, and I was talking this morning because that business is scary. If you ever went to Moon River this year, it's on hold. Riverbend, it ain't coming back. It says it's on hold. It's not coming back. If you look all around the world, the festivals and events, they're in trouble. So unless you're like in Canada, guess who funds the events? Government. For us, no government. It was all either sponsorship people or concession, things like that. So it took about a year to learn the business. We didn't have policies and procedures. We didn't really have a very good budget process. So that's all you do in Austin's. Especially when you're in the for-profit world. If we finished the month of February on the 29th, I had 10 days to get back, I'm in Dallas, just to get back to my company in Philadelphia. Every aspect of what was going on in that hospital. Every department, what doctors I was recruiting, what programs I was putting in place. I had 10 days to get that back. So a lot of businesses just don't have policy. They don't have job description. You're in the university, I'm sure you've got all that stuff. But not smaller businesses. So if you go out and start your own business, think about it. So I took all those hospital manuals and I applied it to Riverbend. And I said, okay, this one works, this one works. You know what that's called when you take somebody else's idea. What's it called? $20. What's it called?
They did.
What?
They did
No.
research.
You're not part of this. Okay, she just disqualified all of you. We've got to talk to Professor Goodrich here. It's actually she got part of it right. It's called market research. It's stupid. I'm gonna defense. So if you go to another company and you're not stealing, you're not plagiarizing, get back in here. You're not stealing an idea. If they got an idea that works for you, why go back and recreate it? Take it. That's market research. Unless they got a copyright on it or something legal, take it. And that's for me. That's what we do with Preston all the time. And we're in 60 countries around the world, and people have best practices everywhere. And guess what we do? We take it. They give it to us. We take it. And all right. How about one or two more good ones? You guys got some good ones. Not you. All right, Professor.
Did you have some really great mentors as you were trying to learn hospital administration, learn the music business, learn politics, learn all of that? Did you have some mentors that helped?
Yeah, so for those of you who are older, you might look in there. You probably have had a mentor or two in your career. Yeah, yes. But not many. That's cheap. And what you'll have is somebody who really makes an impact in your life. And a mentor, their job is to help say, hey, have you ever, you got a problem. I know Jennifer. She's dealt with this before. Let me introduce you to her. Let me help. I've been through this experience before. Here's what I did. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying, here's what I did. So I had probably 2 mentors in healthcare. I had more like friends in the music business. I don't think I ever had a mentor in politics. So I've had 2, maybe 3 mentors in my career, 43 years. So they're not out there just for the plucky. And when you find a mentor, someone who really takes you under their wing and helps you, appreciate that. And then, as they say, pay it forward. As you get older and as you get experience, as you've been through your career, and you see somebody that you can help them. Help. You know, that's your job, is to take your experiences and your knowledge, pass it on. You know, make people better. What's wrong with that? You know, that's what you should do.
Oh, okay, just from kindergarten.
How would you guys? What question you got?
You have to pay to many places. So what make you related to Uber bills? Because the salary, higher salary, or the personal interest?
Well, for me to leave healthcare and to go to the festival event business was a decrease in salary and an increase in opportunity. You know, but it was not about money. And I think at a certain point in your life, I was 41 when I made the vote. And I think at a certain point in your life, you do, life's short. You don't know how long you have. And you need to enjoy it. You know, you need to do good things. You need to help people. But most importantly is, you know, you need to make an impact. And for me, our basis for the decision was staying here. Remember, 5 years to move as a hospital administrator. I'd be making 8 times what I'm making now, and I'd be well, but I would be. So what? You know, and so yeah, and I just think that you've got to do. You know, when you're young, best thing you can do is get experience and build on that, and see what you want to do, and see what really is appealing to you. You know, when I changed into doing the Crest on there, I had 2 men that, mentors. They were 2 friends that gave me advice. One said, "Be your own boss." And the other one said, "Do something you're passionate about." And I'm passionate about management. I don't care what the product is, be it hospitals or politics or event world or, you know, or teaching. I'm passionate about management. That I ask for? But, all right, youngster, you get one shot.
So I was thinking, when you were splitting bills, like, what was the most challenging aspect that you guys did?
I'll give you the best example. It was at the end.
Okay.
So when I was running the festival for 20 years, and I knew I wanted to do one more thing, I was not ready to retire. My opinion, when we were young, we were like, I'm going to be 55, make all this money, I'm going to retire, go to Florida, and I'm going to play golf all day. So I said, no, I want to do one more thing. And that's when you do your due diligence, whatever it is you do for a profession, and you explore it. You do your best job to try to size it up. And in this case, all 4 of my kids and my wife were against me. Kids, and they weren't good at violent. And they were like, don't, we love meeting all these stars, and we love it. We've been doing this for a year. Don't. And it's like, so you do your best job in doing your due diligence, and then you got to take a leap of faith. Because you're never going to get all the certainty that you need. Just not. But you got to do your best job to get as much as you can, and then you take the leap. So that's, that was probably the most difficult decision. The other one, it was a monetary decision to go from healthcare to that, but it was a quality of life for us at that kind. Dumb. Okay. Anything else? Any other question? These are good questions. Okay, quiet. One question. Yeah, you got that look. You got that look. It's like, man, it's almost beer thirsty.
And how is the commission been different from school, or like the intern politics? Does it seem more grown up, or is it like?
My wife calls it high school. My job is to study every member of that board and to know what makes them tick and why do they do. Are you on there because you want to become something else, or are you on there because you really believe in serving people? What about you? Why are you doing? I got beside you up, And And so that way, you know, when people make decisions, you know kind of what basis they're coming from. I do it because 32 years ago, we moved from Dallas, Texas to here without knowing a soul and have had a great life. And it's a way to give back. I did the school board thing to get to high school in Sacramento, which, by the way, is in the top 5% of public schools in the United States. Not because me, but because just, you know, any great school really has two components to it. It has parental involvement and it has great leader. And the leader gets the right staff, and the parental involvement is the check and balance. They won't satisfy, they won't accept anything other than X. So, thank you.
What's your question?
I was questioning to the person.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I get on these rabbit holes. It's like, save me, bring me back. So each one's different, but for me, the biggest change has been we have a different mayor. And, you know, each mayor is different. Some are more visionary, some are more practical. Past mayor we had, Mayor Cofier was practical. He was not a big thinker. Mayor Corker was a big thinker. I think Mayor Kelly's a big thinker. Our current mayor on the county, not sure. You know, I think he wants to be a big thinker, but he doesn't have a lot of experience. So,
Speaking of that,
it's that we voted on it last week. But that's not $1 billion opportunity for us. But, you know, at some point, you got to take a leap, right? You know, do your best work. Got to take a shot. So, all right, last question. You haven't said anything.
Yeah, it sounds like, okay, so career-wise, your the proudest or most defining moment, and then either your biggest regret or what you would do different. Both of those things, career-wise.
Well, you probably biggest regret getting married. No, I'm kidding. Biggest regrets. You know, it's funny because when you are in as a hospital administrator, it's not really a regret, but I don't want to be here for 5 years, and for some reason, I tipped you off. I made you upset, and I didn't mean to, but I did. You know, and so if I'm leaving next year, whatever, I'm sorry, I move on. Versus if you stay in a community your lifetime, and I do that, I got to bust my butt to make it right. You know, so there have been some situations, you know, I mean, you're the best day you ever, if you get elected, best day you ever in your career is that first day. Day one. Because then you got to make decisions. And you like it and you don't. So now you're kind of working against, then next one, you like it and you don't. And then after a while, you kind of build up, you know, sorry, you know, so it's not a regret so much, but it's a process you go through. I don't know there's any one thing that I ever said I just totally regretted. There's lots of stuff I would have changed. And then the other part was biggest success.
Or your most defining moment, or what when you consider having arrived, or and then
I don't know if you ever arrive. I think it's a journey.
yeah,
You just
can word like
yeah. I don't know. You know, there's been so many things like when I got to high school approved. That was a great thing. You know, my job was to lead this group, but it was the group that did all the work. My job was to manage that process. You know, I mean, recently, this Broad Street development where the lookouts were moved to. I mean, I asked the developer, I said, listen, what's your plan B to the lookouts? We don't have one. Okay? What happens if the lookouts don't have it? Project doesn't have it. It's like, okay. Why do you have to have the lookouts? Imagine when you go to a mall, when they used to, you know, not, you know, now I'm not, since COVID, I buy everything on Amazon. But back in the day when malls were really a big thing, they had anchor stores. It was called Sears, Penny's, whatever. And that's what this is. It's an anchor to that whole development. So it's not the stadium per se. It's what the stadium brings it's the anchor for that whole development. It's not just going to be a baseball stadium. It'll be outdoor, all kinds of stuff. It'll be open 24 hours a day. Said that it was take 24 hours for it to be open live every day. So, well, there's certain things I do differently, but I don't know that I've had anything I, just stooped this move. I make mistakes. Yeah, well, it's not like I'm perfect. I mean, you make mistakes, and the most important thing is you learn from it. And then if you, it's like, hey, the doctor, it hurts when I hit, right? Well, what's the doctor say to you? Then quit doing that. It's like, and keep doing it once you make a mistake. And that's, when I manage toys, and I don't have a problem with anybody make a mistake. When I have a problem if I don't coach them up, or say I've coached them up, but then they do the same thing again. It's like, okay, we got to find out why that's kicked. So every now and then you got to fire something. That's probably the hardest thing I've ever done. And I had an old boss, kind of a mentor in Dallas, that said, if you ever find it easy to fire somebody, probably this. Like, not. There's some people. There was a guy used to run park rig hustle. It was a sport for him to fire me. Really? But it was. Don't ever do that. All right. You have anything for me? You sure? I'm good. The guy, I'll be your career counselor. No, I'm kidding. You don't want that. But anyway, all right. Well, thank you. Help yourself. Yeah, it's just, 40 years from now, you're just sitting down doing the same thing. It might look a little different lights, but it'll be the same process. I mean, if you're in management, it's get things done for people. I don't care how much AI there is in the world. If you're managing people, processes, and things like, it's going to be the same process.
I want to thank you on behalf of the Congress.
You're welcome. It's a six-pack. Who wants to share?